It's 21 minutes to 8. Back to our main story this morning. Plans to force water companies to reduce the amount of sewage they dump in rivers have been approved. It follows controversy last month when MPs voted against an amendment to cut pollution. Last night, a new scheme was given the go-ahead by MPs in the House of Commons. It places a legal duty on water companies to make a progressive reduction in discharges of untreated sewage. Earlier we heard from Ben Price, the leader of the Green Party on Norfolk County Council. He told us the new wording just doesn't go far enough.
Well, it's really disappointing, the wording. It's a bit of hoodwinking from the government there to stop a backbench rebellion. Doesn't really have the teeth that's needed to go and actually implement the changes that we need to see happen.
Well, let's talk about this more with Kate Stevenson. Kate is a blogger and journalist from Norfolk, and she runs the Kate on Conservation blog. Kate, thanks for joining us this morning. So what did you think of the government's original plan?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on to chat this morning. Well, the original plan was stronger. What we're seeing here is a wording that's essentially weakened to obviously say progressive reduction, which is immeasurable and obviously not target-based at all. And the original proposal that was put forward by the Duke of Wellington called for sort of all reasonable steps and was a much stronger bill to sort of stop this from happening.
But that didn't go through, did it? We were going to end up with something that some people are saying, well, what we are going to end up with now isn't as good. It's still a slight improvement on what was originally planned.
I mean, potentially what we're seeing is an opportunity now for the water companies to do very little but legally. I mean, what do these words progressive reduction mean? I mean, like, is that one less case? Is that, a marginal... I mean, what measurable amount? I mean, one marginal reduction. I mean, I think in actual fact, in some ways, it's actually allowed an opportunity for less to happen, but under protection of this bill.
Well, I suppose we need to see whether there's a timescale to all of this, and whether targets in terms of a percentage, maybe something like that, is part of the detail. The devil is always in the detail with these things. But in an ideal world, here we go. In an ideal world, would you? And we're told this simply can't happen. But would you call for, or would you want a system whereby this never happens and no untreated sewage is discharged into our waterways and the sea?
I mean, of course that would be what we would want. I mean, what we're seeing here with this raw sewage coming into our waterways is a potential ecological disaster, and it's also, an extreme health issue in a time where we've obviously been more aware than ever of what we're actually coming into contact with. So, yeah, of course I'd like to see a complete, zero amount. I mean, understanding that may not be possible, there's still a huge difference between the 400,000 times that this event happened of sewage going into our rivers last year and zero. I mean, there's a huge scape here for this to change, and the extreme amount is, 400,000 times is immense. And 3,000 cases of this last year was in waters that were considered bathing waters. So this is literally coming into contact with people as much as it is an environmental and an ecological problem.
There was a very strong reaction on social media after last month's vote. Were you surprised by that? Were you encouraged, perhaps, or surprised to learn that it's something that a lot of people do care about?
I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, we're seeing more than ever sort of a focus on these issues. I mean, particularly around this time of COP26, and with a heightened sense of individual responsibility around the environment and also biodiversity loss as well. So I'm not surprised that people are caring. I mean, we're seeing more examples than ever of people sort of out there protesting to protect the environment, and with climate change on the agenda and other environmental issues. I think people are turning their attention to this, which is fantastic. And personally, I'm not surprised. I mean, we have this a rare, incredible opportunity in the UK. If we have 85% of the world's chalk streams, which is an incredible sort of unique and rare habitat and a source of clean water, and a habitat for some of our most threatened species such as vole and brown trout. And we are lucky enough to have that here in the UK. We have 224 out of the world's 260 chalk streams. So when we have these amazing environments within our own waters, our own local land, I'm not surprised at all that people care about sort of protecting that.
What do you think needs to be done realistically? What can be done? I think you've told us what needs to be done, but what can be done, say, in the next 12 months?
I mean, we obviously need to see effective infrastructure put in place to stop this from happening. I mean, I understand that some, not all of this, is coming from storm, from when there's storms, and obviously that there needs to be an infrastructure in place to stop that sort of leakage from the land, literally raw sewage coming out and stuff from the agricultural land and whatever. I mean, I read yesterday that there is £132 billion given to the shareholders of these water companies, so it's not as if the money isn't there. And realistically, with the government as well, with government backing in the right proper support and tightening of legislation to see the water companies held more accountable, which I think is what we as individuals basically expect. I think there is more that can be done and that should be done.
Kate Stevenson, always good to hear from you. Thank you there. Kate is a journalist from Norfolk and has the blog Kate on Conservation.